It was clear that in Mr Cummings, the Prime Minister had picked someone that he had decided to, for whatever reason, to trust with a huge amount of responsibility and power. And many times I felt like that many of the key decisions were being made by Mr Cummings and not the Prime Minister, in a way that I had not seen with any other Prime Minister, certainly that I had worked with. And what was different for me in some respect is that because I was the Chancellor and therefore obviously oversaw the Treasury in its operations, it meant that it was much harder to exclude the Treasury from any key decisions, because even if those decisions are not directly related to the Treasury's functions, any department, especially if it required resources or even any kind of regulatory change, it would concern the Treasury. And the Treasury, I think it's probably the only department other than the Prime Minister's office, if we see that as a department, that has to sign off on virtually any sort of policy initiative or any policy change in government, in what's called, there's a process that's often referred to as the right round process. And the Treasury will be the one department that other than obviously the lead department, that would get quite involved in most decisions. So my point being that it was hard to exclude the Treasury, and then what that meant in the context of your question, Ms Cecil, was that if there were situations where, in particular, if Mr Cummings wanted something to happen or had a particular view on a policy or initiative, I would know about it, my team would know about it, and if I had an issue with that or wanted to question it or had a different opinion, it was hard to exclude, but also many times I could block it and stop it from happening, or at least delay it until I see the Prime Minister, which was not always possible by other cabinet ministers.